This is a wonderful moment for me to see so many faces belonging to people I love. And some other faces I don't know yet, but hope to. I am excited and nervous about this book, which of course always happens with any new book, but this one is different from previous ones. It was written during the plague years. The title is The Holy and Broken Bliss, Poems in Plague Time. And by plague, you find out in the book, is meant both aging and facing what happens after aging, and COVID itself happening all around, and the illness of our society, and we still don't know if that illness that we were living during the COVID years, we still don't know if it's fatal. But I didn't know that when I wasn't thinking that when I was writing it. I was just thinking, this is the illness of the body politic. So all of these things weave through one another in this book, because at first I wasn't writing anything. I was in limbo, which, as you know, is a state of nothingness between your death and your rebirth. And everybody else around me, it seemed, was writing, and I could write nothing until finally I could. So, but when I finally could be writing, it was during this time, which may soon be forgotten by people younger than ourselves. Mm-hmm. It begins with a kind of preface-y poem. These be the words, which comes from Deuteronomy 1. The words of an old woman shuffling the cards of her own decline. The decline of her husband. The decline of her nation, her plague-smitten world. Virus that has slain its millions. Rage and despair driving the body politic into violent writhings, knotted upheavings. Drama I watch from the wings, telling myself, these too are the wings of the Shekinah, beneath which I arise and shower, dress in the morning, undress at night in my house of many doors, many windows, little sky. Song reversed to clanging, alarm, alarm. Write if you can find words, I tell myself. Write what you are afraid to write. Lay down your cards. Step over the lintel through that door. Write or die. Oh, so I mentioned the Shekinah, which is underlying really this whole book, and the Shekinah in Jewish mysticism is the feminine half of God the Father. They broke apart during the moment of creation, and in the traditions of Jewish mysticism, our task as human beings is to reunite them, the male and the female portions of divinity. But it's very hard. Oh, shit. And the phrase write or die I lifted from the poet H.G., my most influential now of modern poets, Hilda Doolittle. And she uses that phrase write or die in her last book, the book of her old age. And this starts very slowly. I cannot do this in prose. Words gone back where they came from. It is not a joke. What is lost will not return. It will not happen all at once, but it will happen. It will happen over time. Slowly. Yet time is like a twisted arm. My husband is sleeping more hours, walking much more slowly. Slowly. He goes down the stone steps from the apartment building to Riverside Park, holding the rail, holding his balance. The summer vegetation riots and rots around his sandaled feet. Slowly. The image of a man walking slowly down a set of stone stairs recurs in my dreams, has recurred in my dreams for 50 years. What it means, we all know. We all know the hour of our death, the meaning of our life, what will happen afterward, exactly where we go, the monsters we then will encounter, the joy-embracing gods, the dust. Time goes by, day trailing day. It passes me by and somehow fades like a stealthy black cat, like an old scar, like a recently cleaned express subway car lit up boldly inside. There it goes, loudly clacking, gradually passing the local subway car covered with graffiti, in which I sit sighing, watching golden windowed time slide by. Both trains move. One moves faster. Wait up! No. So these poems they wrote themselves, and that's like the opening of the book, coming out of silence. And then some domesticity. Plague Time Ritual 1. We no longer leave the apartment. We cook or order in and eat amply together. I make a pleasing borscht, he a pleasing French onion soup. Together we dance the long married kitchen dance. He is slowly, steadily losing weight. He jokes that he will not die. He will grow smaller and smaller until I can carry him around in a teacup, exhibit him to my friends. Plague Time Ritual 2. As I daily wipe each piece of mail with Clorox before opening to protect myself from the virus, I wish I could wipe myself clean of envy, of anger, symptoms of another lifelong contagious illness. I don't believe in original sin. So what in hell is it infecting me year after year, traveling through space in bullets of resentment, greed, terror, blood, wounded? How cleanse? How heal? And then here we are in our country, in our society. Summer. It is summer still. Hot sun, trees heavy with foliage, loud birds in the shrubbery hiding from hawks. So you need to get those hawks into your poems. Neglected towers collapsing, and the plagues of poverty and addiction and despair, and the attack of the invisible against a temple here or there, white stone gone dead. What am I to make of all this beauty and all this sorrow? Please just act like normal, like everything will be okay. Please trust the system, say the system managers. From nowhere, a woman, nameless, stands up shouting, "Watch out for the angels. They despise you. There they go, flying over you, heading for the coast, coughing garbage into the atmosphere above you." And those angels are lifted from Blake's The Marriage of Heaven and Hell, where the angels with their rationality and purity are the enemy. And they are also jets flying over all that middle ground that nobody cares about. Okay. That year, and in this case the year is 2021. That year, we were body surfing a wave of public venom, attempting to swim. It was terrific, thrilling. Hate sprayed us on the left and on the right. We wondered, would it smash us into a reef? On screen, our swaggering leader, man we elected, loosed lies from his lips like eels. It was a good moment for cartoonists and journalists and billionaires and lovers of guns. A good moment for poets. Poets thrive on disaster, born as we are within the wound. And now, here we are again. Here we are again. At the Center for Disease Control, they are not slackers. They work like beavers. Science, the hero, fights the virus. The virus ducks and weaves. The dying keep trying to breathe. The bereaved surrender in tears. Mama Gaia remains unappeased, walking up and down on earth. We have all insulted her. She will have her revenge. Yes, that is how she thinks. You better beware a woman, a mother, wronged, humiliated. Better believe she will do anything within her power to retaliate. What if she too considers suicide? And then back to my own body. Tachycardia, which is not a fatal thing, but is disturbing. Tachycardia. Tachycardia all day yesterday, faint 8 a.m., by evening a fast thud, insistent, as if someone is trying to tell me something in a language I don't know, the sign language of an entity that expresses itself in rhythm, and is becoming impatient with my ignorance. We used to understand each other perfectly, or so I thought. I thought we were like sisters. Now it seems for 80 years She has labored nonstop, thump thump, 24/7, without complaint. I have been like some plantation mistress, believing in my own benevolence, believing I and my personal house slave understand each other. Now my heart is racing as if to get away through the underground to freedom. And some more on domesticity. It's all going on at the same time for us all. Us and it and them and them. Fever. Those days when he was feverish and could do nothing but sleep. Those days when I said, please drink something, eat something, and he refused. Those days were a little rehearsal. The Sally Gardens with a stanza from Yeats. She bid me take life easy as the grass grows on the weirs, but I was young and foolish, and now am full of tears. We listened to the Celtic station while we exercised. Today they are playing that beautiful Yeats song, Down by the Sally Gardens again. He pauses in his push-ups. He says he doesn't care how often they play it. He still loves it. His eyes are wet as the grass. I like that blur. Helpmate. Helpmate. In my dream, when I murmur, I won't be able to live without you, he gallantly replies, yes, you will. In real life, he would say, he worries about me. Who will fix my computer when it goes on strike again and I panic? Who will do the complicated financial logistics? Who will stop me from carelessly setting the house on fire? And that's not the best joke in the book. Well, I'll tell you the best joke. I'm not reading the whole poem that it's in, but the best joke is, it's in the middle of a longer poem, in which I say, I tell him, I believe the trees have consciousness. He replies, I bet they think the same thing about you. Okay, some tree poems. Late autumn ginkgos. Sunlight revels through ginkgos alongside Broadway traffic. Radiance attacks the season, ecstatic, yellow, shining. It is almost winter, and still, as I walk to the clinic, the ginkgos sing their seraphic air as if there is no tomorrow. They learned it back in the Permian, before the belated ferns, the flowery deciduous, and the needled coniferous. Cousins arrived on Earth, bringing alto, tenor, and bass lines to the long soprano arpeggio, we latecomers over here, half deaf though we be. Okay, here, this poem I think is the nadir of this book. It is for me. And it comes from a video that I happened accidentally to watch, and many of you probably saw this one or others like it. Nocturne. A man sleeps in his car in the fast food parking lot. A cop knocks on his window. The man is passive as a peony, gets out of the car, hands over his papers without complaint, does the breathalyzer quietly, then the cop leans over the man's ear, begins to arrest him. Parking lights cast a cindery gleam on the naked, speckled asphalt. The video camera stares. Suddenly the man fights, like a tiger, struggles free, runs, is shot, dies. We wonder, was it the handcuffs drove the man mad like that, or something else? Can we guess what word the cop whispered into that black man's ear that night? And then in contrast, anything in motion. A small girl in the park runs ahead of her mother, skipping, jumping and giggling, looking back over her shoulder to make sure the mother is still there, because what if she is gone? I like seeing her do this. The mother likes it. It makes the mother smile. The older brother also smiles because he loves her. I surmise he is a sweet boy who truly loves her. The sky above the park parades some clouds. The family heads for the row of swings. I try to imagine them painted by Monet in one of his pastoral scenes, but Monet does not paint anything in motion. Happiness needs to express itself in motion. I don't have my camera with me. What I have is my eyes, my need to praise. And here's another tree poem. I realized only after I collected this, I find I have a lot of trees in my poems. I'm a tree maven. I don't know anything about them, but...
Except that they're conscious.
Except that they're conscious. That'll have to do. Late winter in playtime. We permit ourselves a walk every day. We believe outdoors is safe. We remove our masks, and the trees in Riverside Park are so individual. The curved or abrupt swerves of their boughs appear to demonstrate free will in cahoots with biology. So then one day, crossing the street to the park, something in the air, not wind, not fragrance, brushes against my body, surges like breakers from the row of leafless sycamores. What can it be? It must be the sap. It must be the sap rising. Yes, today must be the day the sap begins to rise, exciting the trees so that their bodies emit waves of a chemical science cannot yet name, which my own body can sense, even in the midst of winter, even in the midst of plague. You know, and I think everything emits. We all do. You know, dogs notice fear, love. We notice. We feel. We can't name. Oh, but part of being alive is emitting stuff. Okay, and then at a certain point, as I always get, when I'm working on some big project, I can't go on. I can't do this. It's too hard. Does anybody recognize that? I can't do it. It's too hard. I'm and you know, and then, and you know, and then, what happens? I notice in book after book, it happens that the thing explodes. The old woman reads Ecclesiastes and the Song of Songs, Ecclesiastes 12 and Song of Songs 2. Before the evil days come when I will say I have no pleasure in them, and before the golden bowl, owl, old woman, they say, be broken. The wheel broken at my beloved is mine. I have 2 tasks, and I am his. Find truer language for the plague year, the Bardo year, very like the Holland Tunnel, endless gray. Take my bulletproof vest off. Take it off. I need to love with the love that is like milk before the pitcher shatters. Finally, I did so with my mother. Love, flowed. I do it in moments with my man. Down the mountain we go, over the crumbling ice, gripping hard earth, not running, careful not to trip over a root or a rock and fall and break a leg bone or skull. Down the mountains we go slowly, limping slightly, fighting the fight in us, old eruptions of anger, envy, pride, or bliss, singing the song in us they say is stronger than death. Smoke help me, wine help me, Shekhinah help me to love without cause, without cease. Help me believe existence itself bliss, broken, and we alone required to mend it. So, so then the last poem is basically facing the spiritual quest that I haven't gotten there yet. Prayer to the Shekhinah. In my prayers night and day is the hope that you will visit me, which possibly you have been doing all the while inside my skin, producing hymnodies of mirth, of lamentation, lifted from every massed grave in the world, scratching me, pinching me from inside, calling me an idiot, since I do not know how to reach you by myself in the carapace of this body, struggling like the turtle to move as fast as I can and not get run over crossing the street. You at a distance, beloved, my mother, my daughter, you at a distance, my soul who remains at a distance. They say you will travel to meet me if I travel to meet you. Pity I am so slow, but am grateful for the handful of past moments you have spoken with me, the fool who hoped to be counted among the poets, weeping along the path to her own soul. And there are several answers, and this is one of them. Speaking slowly, softly, she says, pay attention, my dear. Not long from now, not far from here, like many of your elderly friends, aching with their struggles, you will embark on the medical mystery tour through a peninsula of loss. When you enter at length the cave of quiet time, among the rocks, the mossy walls, the families of bats, so much depends upon chance in the form of the nurse currently on call, hopefully one of my granddaughters, who will take your trembling hand and lead you through its polished marble labyrinths by the rhythms of your body's decline, the drum taps pacing the flute down to the river that flows through blackness. Bangles agleam on her wrist. Get in the boat, she will say, reaching out her hand to help.
Wow.
Confession, when I chose him. He was the one, the quintessence of energy and wit. Sweetie, I say, stop making me laugh. When I laugh, at my age, I have to pee. And you know my bladder is like a talkative old person. When they pause, you may think they are done. But not at all. And there was always the river rushing through blackness inside him. Some nights, before we fall asleep, he asks me to recite Prospero's "Our revels now are ended" speech. For I am his designated Shakespeare consultant. Other nights, he reads Dickens to me, or Isaac Bashevis Singer, or David Hume, or Lao Tzu, while the light of 1 billion high redshift galaxies drives past our verdant planet and our cream-white bedroom walls, curving and curving. The channel, the pipe, she says, they say, the water rushing through darkness, the spark rushing through darkness. Go ahead, dive on in, beloved. They say there are as many neurons in your head as galaxies in the universe. Breathe in the aroma of the cave, the water rushing through darkness, the spark floating through darkness. Go ahead, dive in with the discarded things, beloved. Breathe in the aroma of the cave. They say there are more neurons in your head than stars in the Milky Way. Go ahead, dive in. Two more poems, those two. The force that sends light. And that's the light that gets through the cracks. The force that sends light. May it find me. May it find my eyes. Illuminate my mind. Gladden my waning days. May the one who writes in the book of life inscribe my name among the poets. May I learn to read it. May my humble request for more light, more time be honored. Coda. Let my poems be shards of the holy and broken bliss that circles and shackles the earth. Thank you.